This video is going to be called Has the News Become a Drug? And why do some still choose to follow that? One of the reasons could be that there still lies an old mentality that feeds into all of that. So it's the ego's way of really attempting to retain an old version or an old aspect of itself by playing into those areas, by being part of those types of linear realities and still choosing not to let go. In another way, it's supporting a lot of drama, but then also allows those external holograms, those realities, to more or less have an influence over it, hence having the perpetual unrest. So those would be more repeated time loops, which drain the energy. And the other thing is, because the ego has a third and fourth dimensional level of consciousness, it's binded to those realities, that old matrix gridding system, which can get or become a lot more uncomfortable for those who are still clinging on to them. As planet Earth has already elevated its consciousness and keeps raising the base level frequency, well, that would also mean naturally, wouldn't it, that the physical body would also need to elevate itself from a linear function, the body being carbon-based, to a quantum one, meaning holding now a gamma frequency. There are many levels to awakening. But the thing is, all must now be aligned on a soul, on a cosmic level. Was the ego a fall from consciousness? I know it views the external world to be the only world that exists. But the other points is that in some way is looking for direction, so still needing that, still needing to be told what to do, and equally has a tendency of getting caught up in things, which really is an attachments, and applies loyalty to repeating in those old habits, but it's convinced itself along the way that it needs to be part of those things, so using its linear and logical reasoning and continues to apply its energy to the things that it's drawn to. But all it's doing is following habitual patterns, following the same old things. But that could be because it's become a drug, a craving, even a dependency, and can act as a way to fill in a void and emptiness, so needing that external stimuli, not knowing that it's really only been fed an illusion of keeping busy, keeping connected, keeping somewhat up to date. And what it doesn't see is that it unconsciously continues to empower those external things, which reshapes its own life. So what does that do? Further compromising itself. Other reasons could be because it likes to be challenged. Maybe has this unresolved inner conflict, hostility, even aggression, and looking at the external world for ways to be challenged, so it can act out that destructive energy, hence riots and so on. But the other side to that is that those collectives, they actually highlight or bring attention to corrupted systems which can force change. There are more effective ways to create or make change without fighting an already broken system. The ego can't read its entire subconscious, and it may have a feeling of not being able to express itself in the way that it wishes to, which could be the other thing. Hence having annoyance or displeasure on how it sees its own life and even the life of others. But you know, those are not the ways to find peace. Actually, this thing on peace. If you're wanting peace, is to not look out there and wait for peace or create unspeakable acts in the name of peace. We would have to create it within ourselves, deal with our own ununified stuff. You know, we need to give ourselves the opportunity to actually go through the many internal processes of creating that sacred balance within ourselves to then function from a sacred space of peace, you know, that level of purity. So that would mean no more of the old way, wouldn't it? You know, quantum existences, which are solar line realities, they begin from a fifth dimensional level of consciousness and above. You know, don't be looking to an external whatever to be told what peace is, you know, what unity is, what coming together is. You know, you'll just be fed more distorted information from a warped, ununified, distorted mind, you know, and if we do this, this will then bring this, and this will then bring that. You know, those types of realities, those worlds are embedded, coded, implanted, and set with more mind manipulation programs for the unconscious mind. I suppose the other way to look at that is that there are yet more beliefs for the ego to apply to itself. So it's really catered for a fixed linear mind, which could equal increased suppression and further suffering, and note that there's no excitement or joy or fun in those types of existences. You know, the ego is fed an illusion that you only have one choice, that there could only be one way for you to have a great life. So in another way, it's man telling man how to live. Or actually, man telling the world how it wants you to live, which doesn't make one bit of sense. You know, our minds are very powerful. You know, our minds not only create things, but it can also be used to affect and recode the physical body, meaning its actual health. The ego, it functions from degraded DNA, still being governed and told what to do, you know, obeying this and obeying that, but that's what some are choosing to have as a reality for an experience. You know, they don't know, or maybe unaware that they can have a completely different existence, while there are also some who fears that they'd get into a lot of trouble if they don't continue to follow those governmental beliefs. So what does that do? They make themselves a victim and empower fear once again, rather than re-identifying everything that they believe in. You know, we individually would need to make a profound change, you know, a shift within ourselves. And that really is just letting go of anything that supports the old way and any old structured systems, and not come from an external whatever to begin with. Only because those types of realities are set for a specific timeline altogether, and one with an agenda which has a scheduled set of not so great events. So you need to know what you're choosing and what you're convincing yourself with, and also how you're feeling as you put yourself through these things. I mean, should you really be obeying the commands of others? It's not a way to be equal, is it? And why not trust in your own inner guide, be open to your own deeper cosmic connections? And as long as you're gonna continue to choose to allow yourself to be governed, you'll be unaware of the other multitude of things which takes place on a multidimensional level, because you'll still be immersed in those old illusions, which actually still keeps you connected to that old matrix gridding system, that you need not be on, but then it also serves double duty. Because if you're on them, that's only showing you what you're still choosing as a reality. So become aware of what your mind's doing. Because this isn't about thinking. This is about being. And not everyone is living the same way or going through the same thing or having the same experience. And anything without love is everything else with destruction, because those would then be destructive realities, of a catastrophic world, and they're crumbling. Because the formula or the divine essence of love was never there, wasn't present, and cannot be present when someone's heart is closed. I'll do another video soon, and thank you for watching.